I've been writing my book, Pearl of the Orient, for more than 3 years now. It started way back in 2021. That was the 500th anniversary of Lapu-Lapu's victory against Magellan. It came from a project with my screenwriting group, but that one didn't come into anything. A year later, though, I asked permission if I could take the basic premise of combining Filipino mythology and history, and maybe write a book about it. And now I'm on draft 4.5. I've shared it with a couple of beta readers now, and so far only 2 has committed to finishing it through. But as a gift from myself, for all those years of working hard, writing, here I am flying to the setting of the things I've only been writing so far. And I thought what better time to come here in Cebu than in Sinulog. That's the annual festival held on the 3rd Sunday of January in celebration of the Santo Niño. Jump 500 years back in 1521, Ferdinand Magellan, or Fernando de Magallanes in the original Spanish, gifted the Queen Juana an image of the child Jesus, or Santo Niño, when Fray Pedro de Valderrama baptized her as a Christian. I don't know what the real name is, but some sources say Humamay, some say Amihan, but we actually don't really know since Antonio Pigafetta, Magellan's chronicler, didn't write it down, nor any of the other sailors who were writing their own journals and logbooks. But in my book, I call her Humamay cause what better name should I call her than that? I think folklore says that she is Lapu-Lapu's niece, but we don't really know for sure. In my book, she is. And she plays a significant role in how Raha Umabon eventually betrays Datu Lapu-Lapu. But anyway, they say that the original Santo Niño that Magallanes left was rediscovered in 1565 by Miguel Lopez de Legazpi, the conquistador who eventually led the Spanish colonization of the Philippines. So, yeah. It's kinda exciting being here cause I feel like I'm being transported 5 centuries back and somehow I'm near all these characters as they were back then. Characters I've only been writing about. After the parade, I passed by Basilica del Santo Niño. It was absolutely full. Roads were closed and there was no way to go here than to walk for kilometers. There was no Grab, no taxis, no tricycles, no jeeps, no buses. But it was worth it. The Basilica is the oldest Roman Catholic church in the country. I'm not religious myself, but it was nice to at least be near such historical and cultural structure. The place was just too crowded and there was no way of getting in. The church was founded in 1565 by Fray Andres de Urdaneta and Fray Diego de Herrera. They say they built it on the spot where the image of the Santo Niño was found by Juan de Camus, one of Legazpi's sailors, during his expedition, preserved in a wooden box. Some say it was recovered from a partially burned hut Legazpi had ordered to be raised. Some say it was given to him. But anyway, maybe this was where Raha Umabon and Dayang Humamay used to live. You know, I can kinda imagine them fighting over Humamay, whether her loyalty lies on Umabon or on her uncle Lapu-Lapu. "So when are you going to flee?" Humabon asked. A tense moment drew out.
"I am your Dayang.
Humabon tossed a curt glance against the Raha, but she stared back at the loose thread on her dress, as if it bore more value. "Why should I care about the Pangoli to take you back?" he sneered.
I just said I'm your Dayang.
She said, muted. "What does it mean?"
It means I'm not going.
She dropped the thread and shook her head. "Go ahead, the Balangais await you."
Just can't accept it.
She mumbled. "Speak up!" He sprung up from his slash, but he groaned and fell back to scowl instead.
I said I'm not going.
Okay, I'm sure there are better voice actors out there. Seeing this monument of Antonio Pigafetta standing right here, I kinda feel some connection with him somehow. He's a writer from Magallanes back then, and I'm writing about them 500 years later. Just beside Antonio's monument was a Fort San Pedro. It was a military defense structure built under Legazpi's command. It was still made of wood back in the 16th century. The place saw a lot of history. Filipino revolutionaries took it over during the Philippine Revolution and used it as a stronghold at the end of the 19th century, and here it is now. There were some people in costumes, of a datu, a Spanish guard, and a friar, but I was too shy to take a picture with them, so I ended up inside this gallery. Here's Enrique de Balaca, Fernando's servant, and Pigafetta, Fernando's chronicler, with their red, kissable lips. Here's Umabon, forming an alliance with Fernando. I kinda like how the painter made it accurate, with how small and fat he was. And here was Lapu-Lapu, defeating Magallanes with his Campilan. Some claim he was already too old during the battle. Some folk story says that he used a pestle to kill Magallanes. But, this looks way more epic, so I had to build my creative license. That was the end of our tour for that day, and I ran out of battery, so the rest was just photos. It was a very tiring day, but all of that was worth it since I got to see this firework as a finale for the Sinulog. Just beautiful lights, beautiful music. We also passed by Casa Gorodo Museum. Videos were not allowed, and since I'm a good boy, I only took some pictures. Casa Gorodo is a house museum located in the historic Parian area of Cebu, the oldest city in the Philippines. I'm just reading from their website. After Casa Gorodo, I made my way next to the Yap San Diego Ancestral House. They said it's one of the oldest houses in the Philippines, the first ever Chinese house built outside of China. 11 generations, the tour guide said, and it's still standing here. I'm guessing the right one is Mr. Yap and the left is Mrs. San Diego. They said the owners still sleep here every weekend, so it's kinda weird to be invading their bedroom right now. Good thing they have air conditioning because it is very, very hot in here. After those houses, I braved the heat and went to check out the Heritage of Cebu Monument. I wasn't sure which scenes were being portrayed when I visited, but according to Wikipedia, it's a tableau depicting several of Cebu's involvement in Philippine history. There's the inauguration of Sergio Osmeña as President of the Philippines, the canonization of Pedro Calungsod as saint by the Roman Catholic Church, and then there's the Battle of Mactan, the climax of my book. And here's another monument nearby. That's Raha Umabon again. One of the gates was open, but the others were locked, so I thought it was closed. And since I'm a really good boy, I just stayed outside. He is still fat and short here. Very accurate. This one right here was one of my most anticipated sites to visit, but unfortunately, it was closed because of Sinulog. It was flooded by unlighted colorful candles. Devotees prayed and threw them inside. The practice was said to have started some several years ago. I also read that authorities want to protect the historical cross from people who chipped away its parts as souvenirs. I really wanted to get close and even touch it, but this is good enough. It's probably not the real one anyway, that Magallanes had planted in the highest point of Cebu. The commemorative marker put up by the then Philippines Historical Committee in 1941 never made that claim anyway. According to Pigafetta, Humabon had the original tore down after the Battle of Mactan when the Raha switched sides. And it's most likely not the same side where it was built, as that was definitely not the highest point of Cebu. Some say it was Fray Martin Dorado's cross, who was part of Legazpi's expedition. And for my final stop on this tour, at my voyage, we visited the National Museum of Cebu. I've already visited the National Museum in Manila, so it was nice to see what they had here in Cebu. Once again, videos are not allowed. Here's a replica of Victoria, probably the first ship to circumnavigate the globe, the first ship that returned with the spices that Magallanes launched his voyage for. Really exciting to see this one, since I opened my book with it. Maybe I'll leave a link to the first chapter for anyone interested to read it. Please support. I didn't have enough time to visit the cultural spots in Lapu-Lapu City itself. This tour, this voyage, this expedition really only concentrated on Cebu City. There was a lot to visit, so I reserved my visit around Lapu-Lapu in April. I read that there will be a recreation of the Battle of Mactan on April 27, so that would be the perfect time to return. So for now, that's all I've got. Can't wait to return. We'll visit Lapu-Lapu's shrine then. For now, I should start doing my draft number 5. I'm going to check out what my beta readers have said about my work. It's currently 180,000 words long. I really need to bring it down below 150,000, maybe even below that if I want literary agents to take on my manuscript. So, good luck to me then.